think about that moment when you start to wonder if someone's feelings for you are more than just surface level. It's not when he sends a cute text or compliments your outfit. It's when you begin to notice that the way he behaves around you is different. There's a certain energy, a certain attentiveness that tells you you're not just someone he enjoys spending time with. You're someone who has become emotionally significant to him. Emotional addiction isn't about someone being obsessed or unable to live without you. It's about their emotional state becoming intertwined with the connection they share with you. When a man reaches that point, it's not just about attraction anymore, it's about emotional impact. You've become part of the way he experiences safety, joy, and meaning. The truth is, anyone can be drawn to you physically. That initial spark can happen with a glance, a smile, a moment of chemistry. But emotional addiction is built through experiences, through consistency, through the way you make someone feel over time. It's created when your presence starts to shape his emotional world, when you become a place of comfort, challenge, excitement, and calm all at once. That doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, almost imperceptibly, until one day he realizes that his emotional rhythm shifts depending on how connected he feels to you. It often starts subtly. Maybe he finds himself thinking about you during quiet moments of his day. Maybe a song comes on, and instead of just enjoying it, he connects it to a memory with you. He starts to notice that certain experiences don't feel quite as fulfilling unless you're a part of them. That's when you know something deeper is taking place. Emotional addiction isn't loud, it's quiet, consistent, and powerful. It's in the way his mood lifts when he sees your name pop up on his phone. It's in the way he feels a little off when he hasn't heard from you. He's not chasing you like a game, he's drawn to you like a home. The key difference here is that emotional addiction doesn't rely on intensity. It relies on depth. Someone can be obsessed with the thrill of a chase, but when that thrill fades, so does their interest. But when someone is emotionally addicted, their investment grows with time. They find comfort in your presence, they feel a sense of alignment, and their emotions become naturally tied to the connection you share. You occupy emotional real estate in their mind, and that's not something you can fake or force. When you become emotionally significant to a man, he's not just thinking about how much fun you are. He's aware of how different he feels when he's with you compared to when he's not. You might notice that he becomes more emotionally expressive around you, more attentive to your needs, more intentional with his actions. He starts to crave the emotional bond, not just the physical interaction. That's why the first sign of emotional addiction isn't a dramatic gesture or a passionate confession. It's the subtle shift where connection begins to carry weight. And this is why it's so important not to confuse momentary intensity with real emotional attachment. A man who is truly emotionally drawn to you will show it in the consistency of his attention and the depth of his connection. He won't just want to spend time with you, he'll want to feel close to you, understood by you, safe with you. That's the foundation everything else is built on. Once this emotional connection starts to take root, the other signs naturally begin to emerge because everything he does from that point forward will be influenced by this underlying emotional bond. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to figure out whether someone is genuinely emotionally connected is confusing attraction with investment. Attraction is easy. It can happen in an instant. A man can be captivated by the way you look, the way you carry yourself, or the energy you bring into a room. That kind of interest is exciting, but it's often fleeting because it lives on the surface. Emotional investment, on the other hand, goes far deeper. It's when what you mean to him starts to outweigh what you simply offer in the moment. It's when the bond you share begins to affect his decisions, his behavior, and even the way he experiences his own emotions. Physical attraction might get his attention, but emotional connection holds it. When a man is emotionally addicted to you, It's not just because he finds you beautiful or fun. It's because you've become emotionally relevant to his life. He's not just attracted to your presence. He's invested in the feeling he gets when he's with you. He starts to look beyond appearances and moments, and he begins to value the quality of the connection. That's when you move from being someone he likes to someone he feels anchored to. It's easy to mistake chemistry for emotional depth. Someone can give you butterflies, they can make your heart race, and yet their interest might still be shallow. Emotional addiction is different because it requires vulnerability, trust, and emotional consistency. When a man moves from attraction to emotional investment, you'll see a shift in the way he engages with you. He'll care more about understanding you, not just impressing you. He'll become curious about your thoughts, your opinions, and your feelings because these things matter to him. They start to shape the way he sees you, and in turn the way he experiences himself when he's with you. This is the stage where he starts making emotional deposits into the relationship. He shares things that go beyond the surface. He lets you see glimpses of his true self, and he pays attention to how you respond. He starts to seek more than fun. He seeks emotional fulfillment. You'll notice that conversations go deeper, moments feel more meaningful, and the dynamic between you begins to carry weight. It's no longer about simply enjoying each other's company. It's about building an emotional rhythm together. A man who's only physically attracted might disappear when things get inconvenient or when the excitement dips. But a man who's emotionally invested doesn't retreat at the first sign of difficulty. His connection to you isn't built on the thrill of the moment. It's built on the bond that's been created over time. He doesn't just crave your attention. He craves your presence because it affects how he feels about himself and his world. This is where emotional addiction starts to take hold. When the connection isn't just something he enjoys, but something he relies on to feel understood and grounded. The real difference between attraction and emotional depth lies in the way he shows up. If he's only attracted, he'll show effort when it's easy. If he's emotionally addicted, his behavior will reflect a deeper care and consistency. He'll remember details you've shared, value your perspective, and seek to build something meaningful. That's the point where the relationship starts to shift from casual interest to something that leaves a lasting emotional imprint. And once that shift happens, every action that follows begins to reveal the powerful signs of someone who's emotionally hooked, not just intrigued. One of the clearest signs that a man has developed an emotional addiction to you is when he starts seeking emotional safety in your presence. This goes far beyond playful banter, shared laughs, or romantic chemistry. It's about him feeling like he can be fully himself when he's with you. When a man reaches this stage, he doesn't just enjoy your company, he finds comfort in it. He feels understood, supported, and emotionally grounded around you. You become the space where he doesn't have to perform, impress, or hold back. That emotional safety becomes something he craves, often more than he even realizes. In the beginning of many connections, people put their best foot forward. Everyone wants to seem confident, fun, and put together. But when emotional depth starts to build, the masks slowly come off. A man who feels emotionally addicted to you will start sharing parts of himself that he doesn't easily reveal to others. He'll talk about his fears, his insecurities, his struggles, not because you asked him to, but because being around you makes him feel safe enough to do it. He trusts that you won't judge him, dismiss him, or use his vulnerability against him. That level of emotional openness is not casual, it's a sign that he sees you as emotionally significant. You might notice this shift in small moments. Maybe he talks about something that hurt him in the past, or admits when something makes him anxious. Maybe he tells you about a dream he's scared to pursue, or a weakness he usually hides. These moments may seem simple, but they carry a lot of weight. When a man allows himself to be vulnerable, it's because he's found someone who makes that vulnerability feel safe. And once he associates that emotional relief with you, he starts to return to it. Just like a person returns to a place where they feel at peace, he'll be drawn to the emotional comfort you provide. It's also in the way he seeks your presence during tough times. When something goes wrong in his life, he doesn't retreat into isolation. Instead, he finds himself wanting to talk to you. Even if he doesn't have all the answers, even if he doesn't know exactly what to say, he knows that being around you makes him feel more centered. That's not something he does with everyone. It's a privilege reserved for the people who have earned his emotional trust. And when you hold that space for him, it deepens the emotional imprint you have in his mind. This emotional safety isn't about fixing his problems or being his therapist. It's about the energy you bring into his life. When he's with you, he feels accepted for who he is, not just for the version of himself he tries to project to the world. He doesn't need to filter his emotions. He can exhale, relax, and just be. That's powerful because once someone experiences that kind of emotional comfort, it's hard for them to imagine being without it. It becomes something they value deeply, even if they can't fully articulate why. When a man consistently seeks emotional safety with you, it's a clear indicator that his attachment runs deep. He's not just drawn to you because you make him feel excited. He's drawn to you because you make him feel safe. That kind of connection is rare, and it's exactly why emotional addiction isn't about intensity. It's about the sense of belonging that builds over time. This emotional refuge becomes the anchor that keeps him connected, and it's one of the strongest signs that what he feels for you is real and lasting. When a man is emotionally addicted to you, one of the most telling shifts you'll notice is how much he values your opinion. This isn't about him agreeing with everything you say or trying to please you in a superficial way. It's deeper than that. He starts to genuinely care about what you think, not just about him, but about the choices he makes, the way he lives, and the direction he's heading in. Your voice begins to carry weight in his world. He listens with intent, not because he feels obligated, but because your perspective has become emotionally significant to him. In the early stages of a connection, people often focus on impressing each other. They want to be liked, admired, or desired. But when a man reaches a point of emotional investment, the dynamic changes. It's no longer just about how you see him, it's also about how you shape the way he sees himself. When he values your opinion, it means he respects you on a deeper level. He sees you as someone whose insight can help him grow, reflect, and make better decisions. He trusts that your perspective comes from a place of care, and that trust makes your words matter to him in a way others might not. You'll start to see this in the way he involves you in his thought processes. He might bring up situations at work, personal dilemmas, or decisions he's trying to make, not because he can't figure them out on his own, but because he wants to hear how you see things. He wants your honest input. Even when it challenges him, he may ask questions like, "What do you think about this?" Or, "How would you handle it?" And when you speak, he listens carefully. He doesn't brush off your thoughts. He considers them. This kind of behavior reflects emotional reliance, not dependence. He doesn't need you to solve everything for him, but your opinion becomes a compass he checks to make sure he's aligned. It's a subtle but powerful sign that his emotional world is becoming intertwined with yours. When a man doesn't truly value someone's opinion, he may nod politely, but their words don't leave a lasting impact. When he does value it, you can almost see the wheels turning as he processes what you've said. It also shows up in the way he reacts to your approval or disapproval. When you support him, it boosts his confidence. When you challenge him, it makes him think. He may even adjust his actions based on your feedback, not because he's trying to change for you, but because your perspective genuinely influences him. That kind of influence only happens when someone holds a special emotional place in his life. He trusts that your input comes from a place of understanding, not control, and that makes it meaningful. You'll notice this in both big and small moments. It might be something as simple as him asking for your thoughts on an outfit or a project, or something as significant as seeking your perspective on a major life decision. Either way, it reflects the same underlying truth. What you think matters to him, and when your thoughts start shaping his actions, it's a sign that his emotional attachment is deepening. This shift is important because it shows that the connection isn't one-sided. He's not just sharing his emotional world with you. He's actively inviting you into it. He values your judgment, your insight, and the emotional clarity you bring. When a man reaches this stage, your presence doesn't just affect how he feels. It starts to influence how he navigates his life. And that's one of the clearest signs that he's not just attracted or intrigued, he's emotionally anchored. One of the strongest indicators that a man is emotionally addicted to you is how he responds when things get tough. It's easy to be present when everything is light, fun, and effortless. Anyone can enjoy the good moments, the laughter, the exciting plans, and the chemistry, but emotional depth is revealed when the connection is tested. When a man is truly emotionally invested, he doesn't run at the first sign of discomfort. He doesn't disappear when misunderstandings happen. Instead, he fights for the connection. He values it enough to work through the rough patches, not because it's convenient, but because the bond matters to him on a deeper level. This kind of behavior is subtle but powerful. When there's tension, he doesn't shut down or distance himself indefinitely. He may take a moment to breathe, but he comes back to address the issue. That act of returning to the conversation, of wanting to resolve things, speaks volumes about how emotionally significant you've become to him. He isn't just there for the good days. He's showing you that your connection is worth the effort it takes to maintain it. You'll notice that he starts to handle conflict differently with you compared to others. Instead of resorting to defensiveness, he listens more carefully. He's not just trying to win an argument, he's trying to understand. He may not always get it right, but his actions show that he wants to find common ground. That willingness to stay emotionally engaged during difficult moments is a clear sign that his attachment goes beyond surface-level interest. He doesn't see challenges as reasons to give up. He sees them as opportunities to protect something meaningful. When a man isn't emotionally invested, any form of discomfort often becomes an exit point. He might pull away, become inconsistent, or stop making an effort altogether. But when he's emotionally addicted, the thought of losing the connection creates a sense of urgency in him. He wants to repair, reconnect, and make things right, even if it means having uncomfortable conversations or confronting his own flaws. This doesn't mean he'll be perfect in how he handles conflict, but his intent will be clear. He wants to keep the bond intact. It's also in the little gestures. He may check in after a disagreement, making sure you're okay. He might be more mindful of his tone or take the initiative to bring clarity to something that felt unresolved. These are not grand romantic gestures. They're quiet demonstrations of commitment to the emotional connection. They show that he's not only invested when things are going well, but he's also willing to show up when things get messy. Fighting for the connection doesn't always mean dramatic declarations. Most of the time, it looks like consistency, patience, and a sincere desire to keep growing together. He chooses to engage rather than withdraw. He chooses to talk rather than ignore. He chooses to rebuild rather than replace. And these choices reveal just how deeply his emotions are tied to you. When a man demonstrates this kind of behavior, it's not about needing you in a desperate way. It's about valuing the connection too much to let temporary problems ruin something meaningful. That's the difference between someone who's casually interested and someone who's emotionally anchored. His actions in difficult moments tell you exactly where his heart is. And when you see that consistent effort, you're witnessing one of the clearest signs that his emotional attachment isn't just real, It's strong enough to endure challenges and grow even deeper through them. When a man is emotionally addicted to you, one of the most telling signs is the way he naturally begins to integrate you into his emotional world. This doesn't happen through forced conversations or grand announcements. It happens through consistent, organic actions that reveal how deeply you've become a part of his life. He starts including you in his thoughts, his plans, his experiences, and his vision for the future. You move from being someone he enjoys spending time with to someone whose presence feels essential to how he experiences life. This shift often begins in subtle ways. He starts sharing things with you that he doesn't share with others. It could be his dreams, his fears, or his personal goals. He lets you in on what motivates him and what keeps him up at night. You'll notice that he starts opening doors into parts of his life that are personal and meaningful. He might talk to you about his family, his childhood, or his ambitions in a way that reveals a deeper level of trust. This isn't just him being talkative. It's him letting you into his inner world because he feels emotionally safe and connected to you. As the connection deepens, he begins to involve you in his plans. It's not about making grand romantic promises. It's about his natural instinct to want you there. He'll talk about future events and include you in them without hesitation. He might say things like, "We should go there together," or "I can see us doing this next summer." These statements reflect more than casual interest. They reveal that he envisions you as part of his life moving forward, and that thought feels natural to him. He's not trying to make it happen. It's already happening in his mind. You'll also see this integration in the way he seeks your presence during both highs and lows. When something exciting happens, you're one of the first people he wants to share it with. When he's going through something difficult, you're one of the people he turns to for comfort or perspective. You become woven into his emotional responses. He doesn't just think of you when he's free or bored. He thinks of you because your involvement makes his experiences feel richer, more meaningful, and more real. This is where emotional addiction truly shows its depth. He doesn't just enjoy being around you. His emotional world starts to feel incomplete without your presence in it. He might invite you to family gatherings, introduce you to friends, or involve you in important life decisions. He's not doing these things for appearances. He's doing them because it feels right to include you. Your opinions, your support, and your energy become valuable to him in navigating life's ups and downs. This integration isn't rushed or forced. It's a natural evolution of deep emotional connection. When a man is emotionally invested at this level, the future stops being a distant idea and starts becoming something he actively shapes with you in mind. You'll notice that he becomes more thoughtful about how his decisions affect you, and he starts prioritizing the bond in ways that go beyond words. He doesn't have to keep telling you how much you mean to him because his actions show it in countless ways. When a man reaches this stage, it's not about dependence. It's about shared emotional significance. You've become part of his story, and he's made space for you in both his present and his future. That level of integration doesn't happen with just anyone. It happens when someone has found a connection that feels rare, grounding, and worth holding on to. And when you see this unfolding naturally, it's one of the clearest signs that his emotional addiction to you isn't temporary, it's deeply rooted.